In the heart of Nigeria, in the bustling city of Abuja, a vibrant metropolis where modernity meets tradition and where faith has the power to move mountains. It is in this city that a remarkable journey of faith would take root and flourish. The story of His Eminence Cardinal John Onaikan, a man whose life has been dedicated to faith and leadership. A man with an extraordinary life who rose from humble beginnings to become a spiritual leader and an inspiration to many. Cardinal Onaikan's story begins in Kaba, Kogi State, Nigeria, where he was born in 1944. Raised in a deeply religious family, he witnessed the essence of faith through his parents' devout Catholicism.
I was born into a very deeply religious family. My father was the Baba Egbe, that means the leader of the Catholics in Kaba. He married my mother when they were both new converts to the Catholic faith. They were actually among the first group of Christian converts in our town. I'm talking about their experience about the year, it was year 1925, 1930. So I was born into a very deeply religious family. I grew up to see my parents praying. I followed them to Mass, to church. And already at that stage, I was aware that there were others who were praying in different ways, different from ours. Next to my house, to our house, was one of the first churches of the Aladuras in my town, Christ Apostolic. They used to beat their drums, dance. In those days, Catholic Church were not beating drums, were not dancing. I grew up with children, some of whom were Anglicans. They went to the Anglican school. I went to the Catholic school. But we were friends. Not only friends, also cousins. I even had an uncle who was a Muslim. And he used to come to visit my father regularly. Nobody ever told me that time that Muslims were anything but just good people. I never had any upbringing of a kind of attitude of religious exclusivity. I'm stressing this because I started by saying my father was a very deeply religious person. You can be deeply religious without being exclusive of others. You can be deeply religious to your faith and still respect the faith of other people. That's how I was raised up.
Cardinal Onaikan's academic prowess shone brightly during his years at Mount St. Michael's Secondary School, where he achieved distinctions in his studies, setting records.
Went to school, primary school in Kaba. Secondary school, we had to find, I insisted I must go to a Catholic secondary school. There were not many in those days. In the whole of northern Nigeria, your viewers who are young don't understand what is northern Nigeria. But in those days, Nigeria was divided into basically three: northern Nigeria, western Nigeria, and eastern Nigeria. And the northern Nigeria is almost 2/3 of the whole country. We were in Kaba province, it was called, now Kogi State. We were part of the northern Nigeria, and we're Yorubas, so we're the northern part of Yoruba territory. To get a Catholic secondary school, we had only two choices in the whole of the northern Nigeria. Either you went to St. John's College, Kaduna, or you came to Benue State, St. Michael's Secondary School, Alede. So I went to St. Michael's. That's where I did my secondary school.
As a young and bright student, he faced a pivotal moment when the opportunity for a scholarship arose. However, his faith and calling led him to choose a different path. one that will shape his destiny.
Those days, in the last year of secondary school, there were entrance exams. The entrance exams were conducted among students who were to do school certificate. It was not the school certificate exams. It was, they call it, it was a HSC entrance exams. And it turned out that I became the best student in the whole of the northern region. Interestingly, the second best student was also from my college, St. Michael's. That is why the education authorities in those days were quite interested in that college that produced this kind of results. As that this was known to the then Sardana of Sokoto is very clear. He knew about it. The Minister of Education at that time was Issa Kaita. And in fact, a cup was given called Issa Kaita Cup for this academic progress, which was given to my school. They were all aware of. There are some stories that Sardana himself took his car and drove the whole way to the school to come and see this boy. No, there's no such thing. It is not true. It didn't happen. What did happen is that an emissary was sent from the Premier's office to Kaba, to my town, to actually engage me and find out what is happening. Because this was quite unusual. This is something that everybody were looking forward to. How come this young man says he's not going to King's College, which was the best HSC in the country at that time? He came, asked me, "Congratulations for your performance. Thank you very much, sir. And you are preparing to go to King's College?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Why are you not going? Why? Why aren't you going to King's College?" I said, I've decided to go to the seminary because I had settled down with my bishop. The seminary? I'm not sure the man understood what seminary was. What seminary? I said that I want to. That is where we train to become reverend fathers. I want to be a reverend father. And I remember he asked me, "Why do you want to be a reverend father?" And because I remember the thing very well, like to yesterday. So I said, "Sir, because I want to serve my God." And he looked at me. I remember very well. I was not afraid. He repeated 3 times. "You want to serve your God?" I said, "Yes." "You want to serve your God?" I said, "Yes." "You want to serve your God?" I said, "Yes, sir." He picked up his cap, put it on his head, stood up and gave me his hand. He said, "God bless you, my son." I said, "Thank you, sir." That was the end of the interview.
His journey into priesthood took him to Rome, where he delved deep into theology and scripture studies. His unwavering commitment to his faith led him to become a priest at the age of 25. His ascent within the Catholic Church was steady and remarkable. He served as a bishop, rector, and leader in various capacities, all while pursuing further studies and even earning a doctorate in biblical theology.
I became a priest, like a young reverend father, 25-year-old reverend father. My first job was teaching in the school. I taught Bible knowledge and French in a college called St. Kizito's College, Isanlu, near Kaba. It's still in Kogi State, yes. I taught there for 1 year. And after 1 year, my bishop withdrew me and put me to take charge of our junior seminary, another seminary. 1 year, I was made a rector of a junior seminary. The rector is the principal of the college. But even there, I spent just a year. So after 2 years, the bishop said, "You should go back to Rome and continue and finish your studies." That's what took me back to Rome for another 5 years of studies, which ended up with a doctorate in biblical theology. All through this time, I was growing like every other young people, with all the various interesting experience of a young boy finding himself in Europe and all that, and a young Catholic boy finding himself in Rome. That was like you were almost like you had reached the antechamber of paradise. I was happy with myself. So I must say, let me just say, my life history as a child was blessed by God.
In 1990, His Eminence, Cardinal John Onaikan, arrived in Abuja, posted by the Pope as the coadjutor bishop. This was the beginning of a profound journey in the hearts of the Catholic Church in Abuja. As he took the helm of the Catholic Church in Abuja, he envisioned the great future of the Federal Capital Territory and worked tirelessly to prepare for its spiritual growth. The rise of Catholic parishes mirrored the city's development.
I arrived here in Abuja on posting by the Pope to be a bishop here. Technically speaking, I was sent here in 1990 as what we call in our church coadjutor bishop, not archbishop, coadjutor bishop of Abuja. At that time, Abuja was already a diocese of the Catholic Church. Our church authorities saw that this territory has a great future. In 1990, it was all work sites with cranes and bad roads all over the place. You never expect it to be like this. But our church authorities looked at the whole picture and saw that this place is going to be a great thing. So created it a diocese. And I came here as coadjutor bishop, meaning a bishop who is to help the person who was here at that time was Cardinal Ekandem, and to eventually replace him.
Acknowledgements were given to the governments of Shagari, who provided the then cardinal with housing to stay in and for the church.
The government at that time of Shehu Shagari gave us a block in area 2 for the resident, for the cardinal to stay. And in those days, there were many blocks available in Garki and Wuse empty. Those who still remember how things were in the 1990s, they will know that it took a long time for people to agree to come from Lagos to Abuja. But there was plan. There was plan. They planned houses. For the first 10, 20 years in Abuja, every civil servant had a house. Different categories of housing depending on your level. The lowest people all got a one-bedroom flat. That is government housing. That was what it was then. And it is in that condition that a block of house, a block with 3 flats, each of the flats was a 3-bedroom flat, was given to the church, where Cardinal Ekandem started.
In 2012, in a moment that transcends the ordinary, the grandeur of Rome bore witness to his anointment as a cardinal by Pope Benedict XVI. It was a mark of unwavering dedication to faith, a recognition that resonates to this day.
Well, obviously, I heard before the announcement was made. I was invited to the office of the second in command to the Pope, but only a day before. He said, Eccellenza, that's Italian, Your Excellency, I have news for you. The Pope has decided to make you a cardinal. I said, oh, is that so? I said, thank you. And it will be announced tomorrow. I said, oh, thank you. Until then, it is subsecreto. You keep it to yourself. Don't tell anybody. I said, of course, I understand. That's how it was. We happened to be in Rome at that time, on one of our synods. So it was not even as if I was in Abuja and they phoned me to inform me or to come here. So they told me, and the next day at the general audience, the Pope made the announcement. And with today's media, you people don't allow anything to That same day, BBC took it out that the Pope has made 6 new cardinals. Among them is one from Nigeria called John. What they called my name in any way they liked. And my people here heard it. So within 15 minutes, I was getting calls from my family members. Bishop, what are they saying? They say you are cardinal. I said, that's what I'm hearing. No, it all goes through my mind. This is all in line with the way God has been treating me, raising me high for His own purpose, not because of who I am, not because of how much I have performed. We don't sit exams for being cardinal, so you can't say because you perform very well, that's why. A cardinal is chosen by the free will of the Pope. The Pope chooses a cardinal completely out of his free will. And he chose me. At that particular occasion, he chose 6 of us from the different parts of the world. I was the only one from Africa. I just felt like, so God, you have not finished yet with me. Here you are again, giving me such great honor.
John Onaikan was nurtured in an interreligious environment where he imbibed a profound respect for the diverse religious beliefs and cultural traditions that coexisted harmoniously in his community.
Oh, by the way, by the time I was growing up, the traditional religion was still very strong in my village. And some of my family members were still very much part of that. They did their celebrations. They even bring some of their things to my father during the celebrations. And we took it as stride. We have the Ebora cult in my town, and they have their annual festivals. The children of their own children had the children's part of the celebration, which I really liked to join in, because they also used to come back to the school to tell us stories of how wonderful it was. We used to spend the whole night around the campfire and singing different kinds of songs, which my father, of course, told me, not for me, and I cannot do that. But I respected them. I raised them because not only do I have other people around me who were Christians but not Catholics, there are other people who were believers in God who are Muslims, not Christians. And I had all around me people who still were faithful to the religion of our ancestors. I retained a respect for the religion of our ancestors from that point on. That's how I grew up.
His theological training in Rome also made him have deep respect for other religions. He became the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria and co-chairperson of Nigeria's Interreligious Council. This led to his close relationship with the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar.
It's not only my home background that opened my heart to embrace everybody. My theological training, interestingly in Rome, prepared me to have a deep respect for all other religions, not only Islam. We were trained to respect all religions. That's how I ended up being president of the Christian Association of Nigeria. And because of that, I became co-chairperson of the Nigeria Interreligious Council. I started being member of the Interreligious Council when we started the NIREC. We started it under the late Machido, Sultan Machido, and now the late Sunday Bank. They were the first who started, yes. Later on, Machido, as you know, died very tragically in a plane crash near here, and his son, not his son, his successor came. By the time I became chairman of CAN, I was dealing with the new Sultan. That is where my close friendship with Sa'ad Abubakar started, and that's continued. It has not in any way reduced my conviction in my Catholic faith, and I hope my relationship with the Sultan did not affect his conviction in his Islamic faith. On the contrary, we believe that let everybody bring out the best that is in you, and it is good for the whole, for everybody. My philosophy, I might call it my ideology, if you want to use the word, is that we pursue, we seek common ground.
The cardinal's desire in life is not merely a long existence, but rather the cherished wish for the gift of good health in the golden years of one's life.
It has always been my desire, my joy, that I'm not concerned about many years in this world. You will live long. That kind of prayer is no longer really to be taken at face value. And I still believe in the biblical limits. 70 years is the sum of our years. 80 for those who are strong. That means after 80, we should be ready to move on, since we cannot be here forever. And the reference you made to good health, I still hold on to that. Because old age without good health is really not much use. I won't kill myself if I get very sick. No, God forbid, is not even, God doesn't want it. But I've been begging my God to keep me in good health. And when it is time, He should let me just walk happily into paradise, which is the most important thing.
Onayeko has also shown himself a bishop who is conscious of his universal calling to proclaim Christ everywhere and to any audience whatsoever. He is a bishop who works with others in many parts and at different settings of the globe. Someone who uses his visibility to bring positive change and make an impact on the world.
As Archbishop of Abuja for nearly 30 years, Bishop in Ilorin, he has always given out the best. He's a down-to-earth person, highly gifted intellectually, and very good interpersonal relation skills.
He leaves us with these words of guidance, not just for the youth, but for the betterment of our nation as a whole.
Our young people, what do we tell them? When I was their age, I lived in an environment where honesty was the best policy. I live in an age where we are told, don't tell lies, don't steal. And those who stole were dealt with, even among ourselves. We lived in an age where you don't copy at exams. There were no expo those days. We lived in an age where those who ruled us did try their best to serve the people. They were not rich. They didn't make themselves extraordinarily rich. My lesson, which I hope some other people will know, is that God does His own things His own way. He raises people as He likes. And if that is the case, we should gratefully accept whatever God has made us. And accept it with humility, knowing that it is not that you deserve it now. You are not the best. You are not the best. And just make as much as you can with the grace that God has given to serve humanity and give glory to God. That's what I'm living for. Hoping that eventually, and not only hoping, sure that if you serve God well, you will live with Him forever in paradise. That's what I'm waiting for now.
His life journey serves as a testament to the power of faith, dedication, and commitment. The story of His Eminence, Cardinal John Onaikan, is an inspiration to all, a reminder that with faith, all things are possible. A man whose legacy continues to inspire and uplift souls around the world. He is indeed worthy to be celebrated as one of the heroes of Abuja.